The holidays can move really fast. One moment you're excited for that first sign of fall, and the next you blink and it's already January. I feel like making decorations is a good way to slow everything down. If you're like me, you want projects that feel doable after work, are very nearly free, and most importantly, are cute. So today I'll show you how to make these 3 different projects from start to finish. All of these ideas came from my other video where I help you pick out a Christmas craft project, so check that one out if you want more ideas. Let's start with project number 1, this Merry Christmas banner. If you are not whimsical, then I would recommend this sort of like felt word banner. This project is actually inspired by a banner that's available at Anthropologie, but we're allowed to copy Anthropologie because that is punching up and it's sold out anyways. So here are the supplies we'll need. We'll need some red felt, some white felt, a needle and thread, and optionally some beads if you want to embroider. I'm planning on embroidering the letters with these cute red beads. Because my default style is haphazard, to say the least, I decided to make a little stencil on Canva, just picking a font that I liked and then cut those out. We only have to cut each letter once. We're not trying to do more work than we need to, so Merry Chista to those who celebrate. I traced the letters on backwards so that there would be no pen markings on the front side. This is especially important if you're not going to embroider them, just so they look nice and clean. And then I cut out each letter, and then I got started with embroidering. And this did take a while. I definitely utilized my friends to help me out on this, so that's a really nice way to get other people involved and expedite the process. So there will be credits at the end to all those who contributed. I used the embroidery thread to do a blanket stitch all the way around the white felt pieces. So this is my 2-second tutorial on a blanket stitch. Put your needle through where you want the bottom of the stitch to lie, and then pull it tight. And before you pull it all the way tight, loop through one more time, and that will create the top red part. And then I decided how much thread I wanted to use, whether like the whole embroidery thread or just one piece. And I decided I liked the thinner option. I did find one trick for going around the corners is just to hold your fingers sort of flat to the felt while you pull gently, and then the red thread will kind of bend around the corners, which I think looks a little bit better. To make the main red strip of the banner, I cut about 1 centimeter of red felt and then stitched those together roughly just to extend it to the length I needed. Did you know the phrase Merry Christmas has 14 letters in it? Because I think now I will never forget it based on the number of times I've had to count that out during this project. So while I do know math, I decided not to use it and just go visual on this, and it kind of took a long time. So I would recommend just getting like a piece of paper and making a spacer to define the space you want between each piece. So pin those in place so we can hand stitch everything together in the next step. And the vision here is that we're going to fold it in half over the white felt pieces and hand stitch those all together. Look at this cute little stand. This isn't even my hot glue gun. This is my boyfriend's. Ladies, if the man you're dating owns a hot glue gun, that's a huge green flag. While the hot glue gun heats up, I'd like to talk about the worst material of this entire video, all 3 projects, is embroidery thread. I hate it. It constantly is getting tangled and it's very hard to separate out. So let me show you the technique I use to separate them. In this act, I will take 6 embroidery threads and turn them into 1. So you peel the one out, and then we need to keep tension, and ideally we need to let everything spin. So hold it in your mouth, pull it out, let it spin if possible, and then just move your mouth further down the line. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. I mean, would you look at that? Project 2 is this funky asymmetrical paper star garland. That brings us to this overarching question that will really guide our experience in the Garland zone, which is, do you love TDM? Because garlands can get a little tedious. All right, let's kick things off with supplies. You'll need some colorful paper, ribbon, cardstock for the stencil, and some scissors. Just start out by drawing a 8-pointed star. And I actually opted to make my star a little bit more wonky because I think that's kind of part of the look. And then cut it out with scissors and trace it onto your scrapbooking paper. Just give it what they call in the restaurant biz a rough chop. And then you're gonna be spending a lot of time cutting these little stars out, so lock in. Much like the fact that justice is a dish best served cold, this is a craft best done on the floor. I like to kind of lightly fold them so they don't have like a major crease. And then 2 little incisions. I'm working on making them more square. They've been kind of wonky. Keep in mind one side will have a little bit of ribbon in the middle. The other side will have paper in the middle. So if you care about stuff like that, try to keep it consistent. I've decided I care about stuff like that. If you do it wrong, like these are different, you can just flip it. Crisis averted. And if it's a tight enough fit, it will hold its place, which is nice. Generally, I'm trying to tape less things directly to the wall as I get older. Just create like kind of a wedge shape. And you can tape that together or fold it down. Creating a little something that we can put in the in-between, serve as like the holder. We'll see. You'll see when it all comes together. Don't worry about it. Project 3 is this fun, modern holiday pillowcase cover. I want you to make this specific pillowcase and fit it to size on a pillow you already have. Somebody make this pillowcase. If you don't, I will have to because I think it's awesome. Clearly this pillow had me in a chokehold, so I wanted to see if I could buy it or at least get a pattern somewhere. So I Google reverse image searched it, but it didn't really come up with anything. It was just a bunch of this exact image as pins. So I guess I'm gonna have to make the pattern myself. So I created a mock-up in Canva. I'll just break apart this mock-up so you can clearly see that the building blocks of this project will be a set of 4 stripes, 2 red and 2 cream. So if we just make that, then we can slowly start to piece this project together. Even the center block is 2 of those sets plus 1 red stripe in the middle. The inspiration picture kind of looks like velvet to me, so I Googled, is velvet easy to sew? And apparently it's not, so I'm just going with cotton. So we've got red and cream cotton for this project. And thread, the color doesn't really matter that much. Red might be good at the end. I've decided I want the final stripes to be 1 inch. So with a 1/4 inch seam allowance on both sides, that would be 1.5 inches of fabric we would need for each strip. But I just cut these at 2.5. So after I sew, I'm going to have to trim down to size, but it'll give me lots of room to sew in perfect lines and make mistakes, which is what I'm looking for in this self-drafted project. I'm going to add this very thick piece of tape. I'm going to put at 1/4 inch because this whole project will be a 1/4 inch, which is basically the length of the half of the foot. Just gonna put this on my machine and then it'll be a physical barrier that will keep me at a 1/4 inch. We've done it. So now that we've built out these long strips of 4 stripes, they'll really be our building block for the rest of the project. So we'll cut them down to size after ironing. I'd like to just pause here for a moment and point out that I grated my fingernail polish off with a potato peeler this morning. So just take everything I say with a grain of salt. We've taken each of the block of 4, sewed them together with 1 red strip down the middle, and now we have our centerpieces. We have 2 of them actually, making incredible progress. So now we just need to build up another long strip of 4 and start piecing together these blocks piece by piece. Now we attach our block of 4 stripes to the top and the bottom, and then I'll show you how we piece together all of the sides. So just sew it right sides to right sides, iron it, same on the other side. You'll notice that I actually have one extra white stripe. That is because it's kind of important that this project is square. So here you can see me measuring to make sure the finished piece is going to be, close enough to square. And then we're going to wrap up this project making an envelope style pillowcase cover. So this won't have any closure. So there won't be a zipper. There's not going to be a button. It's just two overlapping pieces of fabric that you kind of shove the pillow in. And I'm going to iron each of these over so that I have a finished side, and I'm not even going to finish the hem. Don't at me, I'm sorry. Make sure they overlap a decent amount, then cut it all to size to match the front. And really, I wasn't that precise with any of this because, this is for fun. And remember, when you pin, right sides to right sides, please. For the love of God, we don't want to be seam ripping this. This is a fun one where you get to sew all the way around. You don't have to leave a gap anywhere, so just sew that square. And here's a little montage, you earned it. And then we just have to wrestle the pillowcase to get it in there. And it looks really cute. I'm very happy with how it turned out. And with that, I feel like my living room is totally transformed. It was so nice to work on these projects, and it's even nicer to have them all done. I hope you're able to slow time down this holiday season by making something for your home. And if you want even more ideas, I'll put the Christmas craft flowchart video on the screen now, so you can go check that out. And here are the credits to my amazing embroidery helpers.